Maharaj's birthday was July 8th. So if anybody is still on the WhatsApp feed and has any of this like the feed, usually it would have whatever's going on in the ashram, the videos, they normally have a celebration and all of that. I haven't been on WhatsApp in a long time. I asked Rami, who we haven't seen for a while, if he could send them, but I don't know if he even has that same email anymore. So,
and also, John, July 3rd was the auspicious Guru Purnima. Every year we give gratitude to the Guru. I wanted to give it to you in person, but I don't do email, and also anyway, my gratitude to you. We give gratitude to all the Gurus.
Yeah,
to the most auspicious day for us. And they would have a celebration in Nashik Ashram also.
Yes. Yeah, well, on the website and on the YouTube channel, we have previous Guru Purnimas where Maharaj, did the whole, and then they had the dancing, and it was very nice. Yeah. Yeah, I've been kind of out of touch with the ashram for a couple of years now because once my work didn't allow WhatsApp anymore on our phones. So I was on the WhatsApp list for years after being on the ashram, and I got updates like all the time. Plus Maharaj would text using WhatsApp and things. So yes, so this is a message for anyone out there who has videos or any kind of information about the Guru Purnima at Nashik Ashram and or the birthday celebration of Sri Ramakant Maharaj. Would be most appreciated to I don't know how you would send it actually, because I don't have if I put my email out in the world, then I'm gonna yes, Alan.
Yeah, to reach it by WhatsApp, I just take WhatsApp and put Nashik Ashram or?
No, it's a private group that they had.
Okay.
They added me into it when I was there.
Okay.
And I had it for many, many, many years. And then, the whole thing with
Yeah. Okay. It's for a private group.
Yeah, I don't think you can find it just like searching for the group.
Good.
But like VJ and the other person, I forget his name, but there were like 4 or 5 guys who kind of do the admin for that.
Okay.
And add the people in, and that's where the bhajans would come in, because they would record the bhajans and they would record a lot of stuff. There for a while we had a I forget what the name of it is. It's like a recording, sort of like YouTube, but it's like a podcast thing. And they had it directly from the ashram, where they would actually do live at Ranjit Ashram. Mixler, that's what it was. You could tune in on Mixler and actually listen to them doing the bhajans live. Wow. And also Maharaj's talks and things like that you could do live. This is no longer the case because they don't do that, of course, because Maharaj isn't up there. And yeah, there's no more Mixler. But there used to be just a lot of activity.
Yeah.
So, but and usually every year I'll do at least like a video and caption it and stuff, and in honor of Maharaj's birthday. And this year I didn't do anything, so that's why I'm asking for extra stuff, because most years you can go through the YouTube channel and see it. What will happen is on the WhatsApp, so many people have done little phone things, and then you piece them all together and it becomes a 30-minute nice showing of all the activity. But I guess Master did not move in that way this time. So, because usually that's like it's like a spontaneous thing where it just everything comes together, boom, the YouTube's up, and boom, happy birthday Maharaj, and the Guru Purnima, same kind of a thing. So it's not moving in that way. And that's enough about
that. John, right now I have a good friend who's on the end stages of cancer. I have a really good friend that's moving away, and I have a sick cat. So all these feelings about these things, but it's hard to let just the feelings go through without some identification of relationship. And so when you're practicing the presence, which mostly I do, and mostly I'm often called into intoxication with selfless self. However, dealing with the issues in the body and the illusion, if you want, the concept. I know the body is just concept. However, no, there are relationships that we have because we're bodies. So what guidance on dealing with letting feelings flow or move through us without identification? What further guidance do I need?
Yeah, I mean, if a feeling comes, then the feeling is there. There might be crying. There might be some sadness. It's not going to be so deep and so like troubling. But it's more troubling to say, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this feeling, or I hope this feeling passes, or I'm going to remain with my selfless self and allow this feeling to pass. There is, of course, you can fall back into the sense of presence at any time, and that kind of clears the screen. So if the screen starts to get muddied with all the body-based relations and different people are sick and this is happening and that's happening, remaining with your selfless self and sort of that just I, that subtle sense of presence, practicing the presence as you spoke about, but you're remaining with your selfless self, that sort of clears the screen. However, and Maharaj has said this too, you're going to have body-based issues, body-based problems, because you're holding this body. You're not going to take the touch and really be deeply affected, but there could be crying. There could be, I spoke about when Maharaj left the body. There was an overwhelming sadness. As a matter of fact, when I first heard that he wasn't doing well and we were doing this candlelight vigil, I was like, oh my God, of course. And I was praying. I said, oh, Master, this is how this is happening now. And we all did the vigil and we put together a nice video with all the vigil. And then, it happened that he declined. And there were communications from people from the ashram, and it was a sadness. It's a natural thing. Like Maharaj was like a father figure, and I know I only spent like 1 month with him. And then of course he came to America and this and that, but there was a deep bonding with the Guru. Number one, as presence, and then the manifestation of that presence that I had totally surrendered to as Sri Ramakant Maharaj. And so listening to leaving the body, there was pain. It's quite natural, I believe, because we're holding this body. But it's not going to be a deep, like even then, there was some sadness. There was a little crying and stuff. And even when I think I spoke about this before, when I was driving up to Frederick, I was like, well, now Master's no longer confined to the body, so I can worship the presence as the Master. And then it started to dawn on me, wait a minute, like the presence never was confined to the body. Mm-hmm. There was an experience within the bubble of illusion of master-disciple due to the fact that there were two body forms. But in the reality, there was no like escaping the body. because there was never any limitation of body. And so when I sat there and I was thinking like, okay, Maharaj has become everything. No, everything is no longer the five elements are no longer showing a Sri Ramakant Maharaj. That is the only thing that has happened. The appearance of Sri Ramakant Maharaj as the five elemental figure, so to speak, is no more. But the appearance, just like in the sky, clouds, they're forming and not forming, and then the clouds are breaking down and such. This is an appearance that is no longer appearing, and yet was never a separate autonomous thing. And so, it would be egoistic spirituality to say, oh, my friend is really, really sick and they're dying, and I know it's not true, so I don't have to do anything about it, and I'll go about my day. No, there's going to be some pain, especially because of attachment to the body of long years of believing yourself to be a body form with body-based relations. Now you know yourself in a real sense. But again, it would be egoistic spirituality to try and say, I shouldn't feel this way. Because even the I that says I shouldn't feel this way is needing to be removed. That's why Maharaj talks about positive experiences or negative experiences. Both are untrue. You are not body, you were not body, you're not going to remain the body. But like, and as Nisargadatta Maharaj talks about the neighbor's child. The neighbor's child gets sick and you say, oh, that's so sad. But it's not a deep, like, oh, wailing about this horrible pain. It's not so deep.
Yeah.
And if it does start to become deep, you can just remain with your selfless self. That is the natural screensaver. It erases, like the Etch-a-Sketch of the old days, where you would draw this elaborate picture, then you shake it and the picture is completely gone. Remaining with your selfless self is like the spiritual Etch-a-Sketch to all these body-based illusory problems, without having to say, I can't feel this way.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be spiritual bypass or egoistic spirituality, as you say. Yeah. It's happening, so it's happening.
And at the deepest level, even this own body that appears to be mourning or appears to be sad is not. But you don't have to think this or do this or separate yourself by believing this. You remain with your selfless self. It naturally clears. Okay, then you go about, do your job, do your duties. You might have to, not saying horrible things, but you might like attend a funeral, or you might have to go and do this or go to the hospital or whatever. You be compassionate in the moment to another being that is your own self. But you don't need to announce that to your mind, through your mind of a body-based thought of, I know I'm the self and I'm just here to, this poor person doesn't know they're the self. So it's natural to feel, no, none of this. It's just a natural flow. In a dream, it's very natural flow. When you wake up, you understand, oh, it's not true. But while you're dreaming, if you're dreaming that you're at your friend's funeral, you'd be crying in the dream. This is quite natural and no problem.
That's helpful, John.
Hey, Guru.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Hello.
I wanted to ask you about the Anahat Nad, the unbeaten sound.
The unbeaten sound?
Yeah, in the Naam Mantra, there are many quotes about it. Like Sri Sadguru Siddha Rameshwar Maharaj has given on your site.
The soundless I'm not understanding.
Yeah, the soundless sound that we can hear after mantra jap.
This would be when you're remaining with your selfless self, the feeling of just I, that presence.
Yeah.
Sound, of course, is illusion.
Mhm.
The presence can be felt, I guess you could say, as because even if you're saying I'm experiencing silence, you're within the illusion. Because all experience, as Maharaj says, all experience, experiencer, witness, witnesser, all of this is in the bubble of illusion. So I wouldn't, the best thing is Naam Mantra is to bring you to the point where these thoughts, these layers of illusion have been cleared. And this very subtle sense of presence, this just I, this selfless self, this is now reflecting in the empty mind because the mantra has cleared away the thoughts that used to be sort of entertaining you because you were running away with the thoughts. You could say this is silence. Like if you sit here and you're in Naam Mantra, and depending on how long you practice Naam Mantra, you can easily drop into your selfless self at any given moment. And everything's gone. And you could say this is silence, but it's the absence of everything. So to even say silence is giving it an attribute that's not needed.
Okay. Okay.
And a lot of times, especially in Master of Self-Realization, there'll be a presenting of a concept, and it'll be like, this is it. This is how you will, see this concept, or this is where this concept is built from. And I think Sri Ramakant Maharaj talks about like doing the steps. And you step on one step, now you're firmly planted, and this step is dissolving. And then you step on this step, you're firmly planted, this step is dissolving. So the concept of the gross body and the great causal body and all of these things, and Brahman and Atman and Paramatman and God and Master, all of these you're stepping. And then when you're starting to be firm in your conviction, oh, so that I am that, these stairs are dissolving. And then when you get to the top of the stairs, literally all the stairs have dissolved and you remain with your selfless self. And mantra helps you to be completely free and clear of concepts. Because you meditate on the meditator until the meditator disappears within the meditation. Just I, just I. Even all the practice is there as you are believing yourself as something and someone that can practice. You can do bhajan and these sort of things. The bhajans, once you know yourself in a real sense, your bhajans, your prayers, your listening to the master, all these things, this now becomes selfless self-devotion. But it's not to anyone in particular. It's to your own selfless self. Now that the knowledge is there that except your selfless self, there's no God, no Brahman, no Paramatman, no master, nothing is there. Before the experience I exist, you were there without the knowledge of this existence. Once the knowledge of existence, the I am, the selfless self, this just I, once this has appeared, then you know so many things. Prior, there was nothing to know, and the knower was without attributes of knowing. Like, for instance, a fetus in the womb has no knowledge of anything. There's no knowing. And yet everything is being taken care of. Fetus is being built. Hands are being made. All these sort of things. It's not until this body form comes out and starts to begin to know things, know a world, start experiencing otherness, that this subject-object duality comes in, and then this train of thought, and then this consciousness appears that I am something. And now I need to take care of myself, or someone needs to take care of me. In the womb, prior to the knowingness, nothing was known. There was nothing other. Otherness did not come into effect until the consciousness I exist appeared.
It's the same as in deep sleep with no dreams.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Yeah, there's no experiencer. You could say that in deep sleep, you're in complete and total silence, absence of all things. But there's no knowing of silence because experience and experiencer is not there.
Right.
There's no knowing. And once the knowing is happening, this is when the dream consciousness is created and an entire world springs from your spontaneous presence. And these appearances are appearing before you, as well as identification with the body within the dream as I, giving you the concept of experiencer and experiences. And I would say it's wonderful to read the books and such. And like you said, you're doing Naam Mantra. This is very beautiful. Just don't, like Maharaj says, don't get so hung up on the words, like how the master is saying or what the master is saying. The concept of reading these books is to recognize the reader. Also that I am that. It should put you in a meditative state almost to read and recognition in the projection that, as Maharaj says, oh, it's my story. That's why I think Nisargadatta Maharaj told a visitor one time that don't read the Bhagavad Gita as if it's like Krishna and this and this. Read it from the perspective of Krishna. When Krishna says, I am in every being and all of these things, that's your own self.
But as for deep sleep, I can have a concept of what not knowing is, and I
All
can.
imagination through mind. How in the world can you possibly know what it's like when you don't know yourself? And there's nothing
that's
to
what
know.
I mean. That's what I mean. So my idea of deep sleep could be considered a limitation of mind on what deep sleep, what presence is itself, because it's an idea about presence itself.
It's just imagining. I can imagine that the sun, and actually ancient people would imagine how the sun was, and that there was a god in there, and he was fanning a big thing, to whatever those things are, billows, and that the moon, another god is dragging the moon along and pushing the sun down behind the mountains. We can imagine anything, but how is this going to be helpful? I can imagine what deep sleep. Oh, when I'm in deep sleep, I'm experiencing nothing, but I'm the entire world. And this is what death will be like. But what? Like, you can't explain deep sleep. The only way, actually, that you even know there is a deep sleep is because you have a dream and a waking state. And the only reason you have a dream and a waking state is because identification with a body, I am dreaming and I am sleeping and I am waking.
So it's not that kind of it's not a known unknown. It's like you can't know it unknown.
Yeah, just like your own self. The only way you really know yourself is the subtle sense of presence. The only way you can feel that is because you have a body form. You're in the bubble of illusion of duality, and you're able to notice your subtle presence. And then, of course, the knowledge dawns that if you know presence, then there's a knower that knows presence. Therefore, presence is the primal illusion. Whether presence is there or not, you are. Knock, knock on the door. Who's there? Nobody's there. No, somebody has to be there to say nobody's there.
But then you end up. I would. You know, I've you say there's somebody there, but then that's still a word. So, it's still not presence.
You have to use words until you leave the
Yeah.
body. Then no words will be necessary. Prior to being this, there were no words. After leaving the body, no words. While you're in the body-based delusion, there's going to be words because there's communication. But you can discard the words because prior to being this, there were no words. After leaving the body, there's no words. So you're good. No need to worry about words.
It's like I am unrelated to anything, you know, in a sense.
Well, again, if at all you want to compare, and you shouldn't compare to anything, but if you at all you want to compare to something, compare yourself to sky or space. You're more subtle than both of these, but like Maharaj says, if at all you want to compare yourself to sky or space. And then talk to me about deep sleep. How is space experiencing deep sleep?
And they do say that they in the East they say being, knowing, bliss.
Satchitananda.
Yeah, Satchitananda.
Yeah, that's so being itself is knowing, and it turns out that it's blissful.
Well, and again, that's within the body-based illusion. Within the body-based illusion, you have gurus, you have disciples, you have saints, you have
when you
sinners,
experience
you
your
have
own self, when you are your own self directly, presently,
then the words disappear. There will be no words. When you remain with yourself, the self, especially at just die, you can just fall back into that anytime because you have a body that you're holding. As long as you have a body that you're holding, you can dip your cup, this body, into the nectar of immortality and selfless self-intoxication. And nothing is there. No words, no world. No experience, no experiencer, no witnesser, nothing.
Mhm.
Try to create a concept from this point.
well, you could call it presence. That would be one concept.
But even this is not presence.
Uh,
Presence is when you use this body as an instrument to sort of sense this sense of presence, this I am. As Nisargadatta Maharaj says, the I am is the doorway to your own self. On one side is the world. You have the I am, the presence, the just I, the selfless self. On the other side of the door is reality. But reality, the first knowing, the first concept I exist, which created the dualistic understanding of the world, you're on the other side of that. And that's why Maharaj beautifully explains that of prior to beingness. Did you know about dreaming? Prior to beingness, did you know about Brahman, Atman, Paramatman, God, Master? Prior to beingness, any gods or goddesses? Any concept of birth or death? And that's your true nature. When you're not imagining yourself to be something separate in a world having experiences. And every question is just a doubt about your formlessness. Because when you know yourself in a real sense, that's it.
Yeah.
That's why Maharaj says, is India sky inquiring why it's not America sky? Or, you know, when it's going to rain? Or no, the sky is not inquiring any of these things. There's nothing to know.
Mhm.
Appearances are appearing and disappearing on the background of the sky. And whether clouds are there, rain is there, sun, whatever, it makes no difference. There's no consciousness I am sky. Just like, again, imagine when the seasons turn, if the consciousness of a tree was to say, oh my God, my leaves are falling off, this is a horrible experience. Will they ever come back? How long will they be gone? This is the same. The mantra removes the consciousness that is impressing on you through the flow of thoughts. I am something. I am somebody else.
I was talking about a mantra which is going on without practicing, like the primordial sound or cosmic vibration.
Yes, yes. Yeah, you're just listening to the mantra as it's running through the body. The
Yeah,
body's sort
like
of like a flute. The mantra is
without,
naturally running.
yeah, that natural mantra I was talking about, not something that we repeat, like not that, but a mantra which goes on without any effort. That is called Anahat Nad. Like in India, it is called Anahat Nad, and in overall, it is cosmic vibration or the primordial sound, logos. There are many names. I was referring to that only.
Okay, no, I thought when you said mantra, because like Sri Ramakant Maharaj gave most of the people that are on this call the mantra. Or if you've had mantra from Ranjit Maharaj or something like this, someone from the lineage, I wouldn't know. But when I speak of mantra, it's the Naam Mantra. And yes, it is the natural sound, the soundless sound that's running through the body that you're listening to. Because the body is basically a flute, and the breathing in and the breathing out is done continuously.
Yeah. So, Raman Maharishi also talked about this mantra which is going on continuously, and he referred to as it as the eternal self.
The eternal self. I mean, okay, if you want to call again any labels, it's labeling. I however you wish to speak about it. Again, we have Naam Mantra. Naam Mantra, breathe in, breathe out. It's on the website. You know, a lot of the things about Siddhar Ashram Maharaj and Nisargadatta Maharaj. Of course, the mantra is secret. But I mean, if you're deeply involved in your own selfless self, it will probably lead you to the correct way for you.
Okay.
Because you are that. So
Yeah.
any guru you've gone to, and any sense of the word is just your own selfless self. And the more you'd have trust and faith in the master, then the deeper your own selfless self, it's that that surrender. But while there's still a concept of something to surrender, once you know yourself in a real sense, of course, this concept of surrender doesn't make sense. But as you're getting closer and closer to your selfless self, you want to continue to surrender anything and everything that you believe is blocking you, or like the illusory layers. And even mantra, you know, our Naam Mantra, this is also surrendered at the end, because you are naturally listening to this running through the body. But once you know yourself in a real sense, you should truly just spend time with your own self, sitting quietly, investigating yourself. And until conviction, you must, it's a must, mantra. And not just like sitting for meditation and saying, okay, I'm going to do mantra for 2-3 hours. Mantra from the moment you're waking to the moment you're sleeping, all throughout the day. Washing dishes, mantra. Using the toilet, mantra. Taking shower, mantra. Eating lunch, mantra. On the bus, mantra. Waiting in line, thank you, Master, perfect time, mantra. And then that conviction comes, also that I am that. And there is only that. It's not that I am that or you are that. That is that.
Yeah. Isn't the experience of deep sleep peaceful?
There's no experience of deep sleep.
Okay.
In deep sleep, there's a no knowingness. There's nothing to know. You don't know yourself. In dream, as soon as the sense of existence starts to stir, I exist. This is what creates the dream consciousness, which is projecting the dream world. The same is true in the waking consciousness, that the consciousness is being projected due to the concept I exist.